Welcome to Waxing Comical, the podcast with all your comic needs.
And wants and desires.
With me today is Dane.
Hi, I'm Dane.
Just like literally every other day.
Every time, because this would be weird if it was just you talking.
Me being Luke, because I'm also here. Yeah, Dane's our special guest host for the last all of the episodes and
for the last eternity, forever,
and any episodes to follow.
Unless I die tragically or hilariously.
We'll figure out a way to get you back.
Infinity stones and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, this is a comic podcast. We know of many ways to bring
That's
people
true.
back from the dead.
Don't grieve for me. I'll be back.
Oh, I won't.
Either way.
Today we're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man.
The best Spider-Man comic.
He is the best Spider-Man. It's like Spider-Man, but in a different universe.
It's like Spider-Man, but better. But also still Spider-Man.
And sometimes black.
Sometimes. Mostly towards the end.
Yeah, it's by Brian Michael Bendis, and this is probably his best work, I think we say.
Yeah, it's definitely his best work. I mean, I love his Avengers stuff, but Ultimate Spider-Man is so good.
That's where he shines.
With his bald head.
And the main artists in the series, or I guess the only two artists, right, are Mark Bagley and Stuart Immonen.
Stuart Immonen, yeah, for the first series. And Stuart Immonen's only around for the last, 4 or 5 volumes.
Yeah.
Out of 22.
Okay. So Bagley, or Bagley, however it's
and
pronounced.
Then I think there are a couple annuals that I think he doesn't... I think he does most of them, but I think there's one that he doesn't do the art for. So and it's some third person, I don't remember. And then they did a mini-series called Ultimate Six, I think, which is like Sinister Six. And
yeah.
that was Trevor Hairsine did the art for that.
Well, we
but
don't
that wasn't
mention
actually,
that at all in the episode.
I was going to say, that wasn't actually part of the run. That was just a mini-series that was counted as volume 9 or something.
All right. But yeah, it's a great series. I think we both highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Like, if you're going to read any Spider-Man comic, read Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Because there's 5 different volumes of it, like series runs.
Each of which has many volumes within.
Though the most recent one only had 2.
Wow.
Because there were only 12 issues and then it ended.
Still multiple, so.
Yeah, still multiple.
But yeah, it's a great comic. Hope you enjoy us talking about it.
Because we do. I promise, we do talk about it.
We are going to talk about it for about an hour.
Whether you like it or not. I hope you like it.
Hopefully.
We kind of thrive on...
Attention
and what's the word I'm looking for here?
The spotlight?
Being liked. What's the word for that?
Humility?
No, that's the opposite. That's the opposite of what we have.
Vanity?
Vanity. We love vanity. We need a lot of validation. That's the word I'm looking for.
There you go.
I knew I'd get there.
So please send us your validation.
Just a picture of you doing a thumbs up. Unless you have flipper hands, then please don't, because that's gross.
Yeah. I guess they could salute with that.
No, I would rather not see it.
Alright, put on an oven mitt, and that'll be a thumbs up.
Close enough.
And tune in next week for Daredevil.
Yeah, because the new season comes out very, very soon.
Yeah.
And then the week after that for Batman, Superman.
Yes. Well, you will hear about that all in due time. But right now...
Yeah, if we feel like it. We could die before then.
That's entirely possible. Until then, Ultimate Spider-Man. Take it away, Dane.
Alright, let me tune up here. Okay, here we go.
So what are we going to talk about?
So we're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
We are going to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You are exactly right. You passed the test.
I get to stay on the podcast.
We're going to have one of these tests every episode.
Employee evaluation.
and if you ever forget what we're talking about, I will find someone else.
Someone who looks like me, but like a bit prettier.
Yeah. I might just drive by Home Depot and see if there's anyone looking for work.
I don't think there's anyone who looks like me at Home Depot.
That's racist.
I look very European.
You look like you haven't worked a day in the fields in your life.
Baby soft.
Soft hands. So Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man is a very good comic.
It is. We've talked about Bendis a bit here before, but I think that...
This is his best work.
Yeah, this is Bendis at his finest. His Bendist. Have you read through it recently, Ultimate Spider-Man?
No, I said I'm waiting until I get that final volume. I'm going to read all of it.
When was the last time you read it?
God, years ago. A long time ago, but I look through it once in a while because it's very good.
Well, I should hope so, because we're talking about it.
Mostly the Miles stuff. I love the Miles stuff.
Yeah. I remember when I first heard about Miles, like when that became news that, there's going to be a Black Spider-Man. I didn't really read comics yet at that point, I don't think.
How come there wasn't any news that there was a new Black Power Man when that happened?
Because Power Man was already black?
But this one is also part Hispanic. Much like Miles.
Yeah, but
his name is Victor Alvarez.
Clearly no one cares about the Hispanic half of a black man.
Clearly they don't care about Power Man.
Well, to be fair, I don't.
I like Luke Cage.
Yeah, I like Luke Cage. I couldn't... If you hadn't mentioned it a second ago, I couldn't have told you the name of the new Power Man. I just haven't really
Victor
read
Alvarez.
Yeah, no, I know it now.
I think I've now read everything with him because I read 2 Iron Fist, or like Iron Fist tie-in comics that he's part of, and I think that's about it.
real big name.
You know what? He might have been part of the Mighty Avengers as well.
I feel like I read some Mighty Avengers when it tied into Original Sin. I think.
Yeah, that was like the first story arc.
Yeah,
Superior Spider-Man was part of it, and then they kicked him off, and it was like Luke Cage and the Blue Marvel and White Tiger and Power Man and
also Axis maybe.
Somebody else maybe.
I think during Axis, Spider-Man comes back because he's Peter Parker again, and he's like, "So I am so sorry about whatever happened," and Luke Cage is like, "I'm going to murder you if you don't get away from me right now."
Yeah, Dr. Octopus kind of burns a lot of bridges.
He made good work with the time he had. But yeah,
dwarves and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember hearing the whole thing about there being a Black Spider-Man, and since I didn't read comics at the time, I was like, "Oh, that's weird. It's not a big deal to me because I don't read them."
Well,
but
even worse, that sounded racist. Not that it's not bad at all. Actually, I love Miles. Some of my best friends. Well, they made a big deal out of Peter dying, but it was like a footnote that it was Ultimate Spider-Man and doesn't have anything to do with the main universe.
Yeah,
it was like Spider-Man's gonna die, and it's like no, he's not.
See, I didn't even know that much at first. I just heard Spider-Man was going to be black, and I was like, oh, so they're rewriting some comic where Peter Parker's going to be black now?
He's getting reverse Michael Jackson syndrome.
I'm fine with that, but that's kind of weird. And then I found out that no, it's just another person entirely who is going to have Spider-Man's powers. And I was like, oh, well.
But also he can turn invisible.
Also he can turn invisible and shock people.
Yeah.
As if he had one of those little toy buzzers that you put in your hand and you
but it's time delayed.
Yeah.
Like if Gans made it like a buzzer.
And it freezes your nervous system or something like that. It's a little bit more intense.
Then he didn't have web spinners for the first 13 issues.
Yeah. He could just jump real good. So yeah, I couldn't. I didn't know why people were making such a fuss about there being a new Spider-Man since it wasn't Peter Parker. And then I remembered people are racist.
Yeah, but they don't want to admit that they're racist. I don't know if that would be better or worse if they could just say, I don't like it because he's a different color. But, because they'll make up just garbage arguments They're like, it's messing with the integrity of the character and some such. And it's like, no, it's not. It's a different dude, first of all. Second of all, who cares? It's a comic book.
That's really all the argument you need right there.
It really is. Like, they're funny books. Just don't read it then.
They are funny books. Which
I was just watching Tosh.0, and it was showing videos of people like literally losing their minds at the outcome of like football games, and I can only imagine that like I love comic books as much as those people love football, and I would never like lose like legitimately freak out over something that happened in a comic book.
Start crying and throwing shit.
Yeah, and even worse is like there's videos of kids doing that, and which is like that's bad parenting.
Yeah, you
like
know
that's
the
abusing
parents.
those kids. Yeah, like you're instilling, like you're causing emotional trauma to these children, and they don't even understand why they're upset. It's just because you've drilled into their dumb little heads that they should be upset if Team A loses and Team B wins.
Just teaching them to hate someone else.
Yeah,
Which is how the racism starts.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Spider-Man is a funny, or Ultimate Spider-Man is a funny series. I haven't read much of the Amazing Spider-Man, the main universe Spider-Man, and have they been?
Less consistent because of different writers.
Yeah,
Whereas we get Brian Michael Bendis writing every Ultimate Spider-Man book, so it's very consistent in tone.
he can't be stopped.
No, and I'm glad because I wouldn't trust anyone else to write Ultimate Spider-Man
Yeah, he's been doing good with it. I know he gets a lot of
for
flack
the past 16 years.
Jeez,
I know, right?
has it been that long?
I mean, he might be the longest writer on anything ever.
A single series?
Probably. Oh, well, I guess it doesn't count as a single series just because, you know what I mean.
Well, I guess by now it's over. If you consider it like Ultimate Spider-Man as a series,
Yeah.
because there is no more Ultimate anything.
So there were, like, something over 200 total issues if you combine everything.
Yeah.
Like
No.
215 or something like that.
But now he's still writing Miles Morales, so
Yeah.
it's pretty much continuing.
Yeah, it is. It's just in a different universe. And which apparently he remembers that, like he's aware that he's in a different universe, which would just drive him mad, I would think.
Everyone he knows is either dead or like slightly different. Like has he met or is he going to meet Hawkeye, Kate Bishop?
That's a good question. I have no
Because
idea.
he dated her in the Ultimate Universe, but she was a child and evil.
An evil child.
Except
Yeah.
it was
just to be fair, Miles is also a child. It wasn't some weird pedophilic situation.
That's true. They were the same age, and her being evil was also basically the same situation as with the sports fans and the racists. Is that her parents were in Hydra? She didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, she was raised by goddamn Hydra.
Just modern day Nazis.
Hail Hydra.
But yeah, at least he got his mom back.
Yeah, that was nice of the Molecule Man.
Or Reed Richards, whoever was in charge of that.
Whoever. I think it was Molecule Man.
Yeah, because he gave him the burger.
Yeah.
The weeks-old burger that was in his pocket.
In his pants? Does he have pockets?
Well, he also doesn't... I don't see how he could have any opening where an item would be accessible. Like, he can't just reach down his pants either. It's a onesie, right? The Spider-Man suit?
I would think, but where does it, like...
How do you get into it?
Yeah,
How
does it
does
zip up at
Spider-Man
the back?
put on his suit? Because the mask is separate. We know that much.
Yeah, the mask is separate. The boots, I guess, are separate. I mean, Peter Parker puts it on, like in 616 at least, he puts it on as a shirt and pants, and just somehow everything lines up,
It's just
and
seamless.
it never like bunches or anything. Yeah, it's completely seamless.
Skin tight.
He just paints it on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's probably at least one scenario where he didn't have time to get his costume and had to just paint it on real quick.
He put on like a pair of blue underwear, and that was it.
Nope,
just balls,
just painted it on.
all balls.
Yeah, it's definitely. I was gonna say it's definitely the longest running Spider-Man series I've read, but I think it might be just the longest running series I've read. Period. Like assuming all of the separate volumes, separate runs are one series
Yeah, it was something over 100 issues. 'Cause, I mean, it was like issue 100 during the Clone Saga,
Yeah.
and then it went on for like a few more volumes, and then because then they went back to original numbering during the second series. Like halfway through it, they were like, "Yeah, whatever. We've done 12 issues. Might as well just put it back at 150." And then it was like 160 was when he died. Then Miles showed up, and he had like 28 issues. Then like a 3-issue Cataclysm series. Then like Cataclysm itself.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was 5 issues, and then they did issue 200, and then like 12 issues of Miles's next series, and then it was Secret Wars, because there is only Secret Wars.
So they say.
So they keep saying at the end of everything.
Right. So I don't think I've read as much of anything as I have of Ultimate Spider-Man. Probably the next closest would be Walking Dead, and then Invincible.
Yeah.
I must have read like 300 total issues. I mean, from Amazing Spider-Man, Brand New Day, which was like issue 530 something, to like the most recent Amazing Spider-Man run, like not the new one, but the one before that. That must be like 300 issues. Because I mean, Brand New Day, or like from Brand New Day onward until like Superior Spider-Man, that was like that was 170 issues, maybe 160.
That's a lot.
So I guess not 300, but close to 200, at least, if not over.
When was Brand New Day?
That was like 2007. That was right after Civil War. It's like that's because Civil War, he revealed his identity and stuff, and then he did like a deal with Mephisto. I didn't read One More Day, but he did like a deal with Mephisto, and then everything went back to normal. Somehow he lost his like spider powers that he got. They still have never explained that, or why he doesn't have organic webbing anymore. It's been 9 years, and I still have not explained why he no longer has organic webbing.
Wait, so he got more powers before that, or from that?
Before that, way before that. There was a series called The Other, where he found he found out that his powers did not come from the spider bite, like from the radioactivity of the spider. It came from the spider knowing it was going to die and passing its spiritual powers onto Peter. That's how Ezekiel came into it. The guy who was in
Walking Dead.
He's the one who locked Cindy in that room, and he was Old Man Spider in a different universe. He's the one who like showed up, and he has spider powers, and he was like, Peter, you need to fight this dude called Morlun, who was Morlun the vampire guy, who fought Peter, bit one of his eyeballs out, and left him for dead, and then Peter like was dying, and he he molted. So he came back stronger and faster, and his eye was back. Even his tonsils were back, and he had no scars. Though actually, he got those extra powers before that.
Did he get his foreskin back?
I assume, yeah.
It's not addressed, but probably.
He got like swallowed by a giant spider queen, and when he like got out, he had all these new powers. He had like stingers that came out of his forearms, and he was like stronger, and he had organic webbing, and he could like feel vibrations through his webs, and he could talk to bugs. And then those just got increased after he died in The Other, and then they just took them all away with Brand New Day.
Maybe because someone realized that the idea of a spider willingly passing on its
retarded. Its
spirit is
because it's like the spider totem.
Yeah, I remember like reading about that concept in Spider-Verse. They talked about that a lot. But
hey, you know what the worst part about that is?
What?
That whole run was Straczynski, who was a good writer.
That's gotta hurt.
And I do still want to read all of it. Like, there's 5 giant volumes of all of his stuff, like ultimate collections of his stuff. Mm-hmm. And I would love to read all that because, first, it's 5 volumes of Spider-Man, and it's Straczynski. So, like, even with all that crap, it's still going to be good, like, overall.
One should hope.
Yeah. I think they have them at, like, Heroes sometimes, with, like, those, like, half-off stickers. I need to buy them at some point. Because then it's just, like 100 extra issues of Spider-Man to read. That'd be fun. Yeah. Like, get some Spider-Man.
But you know what's better than regular Spider-Man?
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
It's literally the best Spider-Man comic I've ever read.
It's pretty great.
I mean, I've basically liked every Spider-Man comic I've read, but Ultimate Spider-Man is so consistently fantastic.
Yeah.
Though I will say, If you want to read Ultimate Spider-Man, in 2016, you probably have to get through the first few volumes, because everybody talks in like early 2000s teenager slang.
Yeah, so if you are a teenager and you start it, then it'll be like a blast from the past.
Yeah, you won't it'll be like a foreign language. I still don't know what the phrase "that's so Jake" means, and I feel like Flash Thompson said it a lot.
I can't even begin to guess.
I mean, I would have to assume like cool, but why would he just say cool?
Because that wasn't the slang of the time.
Because that's not what was Jake at the time.
Maybe it was just some inside joke Bendis had with someone.
It must have been, because I think I've looked it up, and there's nothing about it online, about what it could possibly be.
No one has ever said that.
It's just Bendis. He just knew someone named Jake, and he was like, I'm going to put the screws to this guy.
But yeah, so Ultimate Spider-Man, like, because I haven't read pretty much any old Spider-Man comics from the past, 50 years before Ultimate Spider-Man started, but it's essentially just a condensed retelling of all of that, right? More or less.
Probably not even really. I mean, it has like the familiar origin, the spider bites him, or though in this case it's a genetically engineered spider, as opposed to a radioactive one. And then, he fights all these villains, but it's not really like a retelling in any sense. It's just like, this is the story, here's basically similar versions of the villains, and just have at it.
It's just sort of, it's sort of, just a condensed way of putting him through all of the trauma and the tragedy and everything that he went through classically, just
but in a modern setting.
Yeah, in a modern setting as a teenager.
Plus, MJ is in the beginning of the series, and she doesn't show up for a long time in the original series.
But, Gwen Stacy's death.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben's death, obviously. Just
Captain Stacy's death.
Everyone around him dies, is the point.
Aunt May had a heart attack during the Clone Saga, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, she had a heart attack when Gwen Stacy exploded into carnage. That is entirely
what
the
are you
right
confused
reaction.
about there?
That is entirely the right thing to do in that situation.
I still have no clue how old Aunt May is supposed to be in those books. She goes from looking like she could be in her 30s
and 70.
to 60. Yeah. Like, sometimes she's kind of hot.
She's pretty hot, let's be honest. She's a silver fox, is that what they call
She's a silver fox.
Or is that men? It's only men
I
silver
feel
foxes?
like it can be both.
Okay.
Fox, yeah.
I feel like I've heard that in both cases.
I feel like I've heard it exclusively for men, but I'm going to say that it can be both.
Like, Anderson Cooper is a silver fox.
Anderson Cooper is a straight-up silver fox.
Yeah, did you have any storylines from Ultimate that you wanted to talk about specifically, or just the generalities of it?
Probably just the generalities. There wasn't anything I disliked. Though I had hoped that Deadpool would show up again, because he was only ever in one arc of Ultimate Spider-Man, and it just sort of never showed up in the Ultimate Universe again.
Was he? I don't even remember that. When did that happen?
It was like not a crossover, but the X-Men were in the arc. That's another thing I like about it, is that they have crossovers all the time, but it's basically just those heroes showing up, and it works with the story. It's not just like, hey, let's just throw them together because we want to get more people reading. It seems like it works because they're all involved with each other. Like, Peter dated Kitty Pryde for a while. Yeah. I think this is when they were dating. Peter gets around for like a little nerdy teenager.
It's mostly just Kitty and MJ. I don't think he's ever.
And Gwen.
They start dating? I thought they just kind of.
Yeah, they dated at least twice, I think.
Huh.
It was I think it was MJ, Gwen, Kitty Pryde, Gwen.
She went.
MJ.
When he was dating Kitty, Gwen was already dead. Because this was at the beginning of Clone Saga. He and Kitty are dating.
He definitely dated her after she came back to life at some point.
Okay.
I think in the second series after Ultimatum, he was dating Gwen, and then they broke up, and he got back together with MJ. And I want to say that he dated MJ at least twice in the original series.
Well, yeah, because they had dated before. At the end of Clone Saga, they get back together, is the thing.
Okay. After she turns into a giant monster.
Yeah. Let's run. I guess we can go through that real quick, because I just read that.
Yeah, let's talk about Clone Saga.
Clone Saga. So I had never read the original Clone Saga
Me neither, because I've heard it's a confusing, awful mess.
Yeah, I've heard that it's one of those things that just fans have hated. But yeah, when I read through the Ultimate Clone Saga, I liked it. I thought it was
Yeah, it was good.
perfectly fine. Like, it didn't last too long. It was pretty short, and they didn't like end up with a dozen clones left over that they had to deal with. And like,
Yeah, most of them died.
yeah, the original Clone Saga that ended up with what, like, well, there was Ben.
Ben died at the end of it, I think.
Did he?
I know he died. I don't know if he died at the end of the Clone Saga per se, but
Okay.
he did die when Green Goblin's glider like impaled him, and then he turned to like dust, which proved that he was the clone because they were not sure if him or Peter were the actual or like were the clone the whole time.
Gotcha.
And then Cain lived, and then died, and then lived, and then I think he died again, and then came back to life also.
Okay, well, I guess there weren't as many clones as I thought. In which case, there were more clones in this saga, but you know what?
Yeah, there's definitely more than that. I think there were only 3, or the 2 in the regular universe, just Cain and Ben Reilly.
So, basically, just all at once, a bunch of Spider-Man clones pop up. There's one that is basically this universe's version of the Scorpion, so it's just Peter Parker in a Scorpion suit. There is Spider-Woman, who is Spider-Man if he was a woman,
Jessica Drew.
who is now calling herself Jessica Drew.
Well, not anymore. I guess she doesn't exist anymore.
As of the end of this arc,
Yeah.
is what I meant.
Yeah.
Or even the beginning of it, really. Like, there's one Spider-Man that has 6 arms and also is hairy.
Yeah, he's
werewolf.
like a tarantula man.
He looks like a werewolf. Which is
He looks like a werewolf tarantula. Like if a tarantula got bit by a werewolf and it was always a full moon.
Were tarantula.
I can't.
I think wolf spiders are a thing, so we could just go with that.
Yeah, wolf spider. Yeah, did they call it that? That would have been a sweet name.
That should have been. It would have been if he didn't.
Teen wolf spider.
If he didn't die. There's like Two-Face Spider-Man, where he just looks
Kane.
like half of his face is melted.
That was Cain.
Is that supposed to be Kane? Did they? Well, they didn't call him Kane, though, did they?
I don't remember, but either way, he was Cain.
I don't think any of them had names other than
Jessica.
Jessica Drew.
Also Teen Wolf Spider.
And then also what he assumed was his father coming back,
Oh, yeah.
but it turned out was just a clone that had accelerated aging and implanted memories.
Which is weird that, like, Peter will look exactly like his father in the future and not, like most humans, like a combination of his father and his mother.
He had very dominant genes.
He wore the pants in that relationship.
So, like, Peter finds the Scorpion clone first and takes him
In a mall,
to...
because teenagers.
In a mall, because I still don't think they really explained why he went there, but he had some...
Because he wanted to do some shopping and get an Orange Julius.
He had some reason that he was just compelled to go to the mall and fuck
Like
it
the
up.
zombies in Dawn of the Dead.
And so Spider-Man knocks him out and takes him to the Fantastic Four and is like, who is this? I need to know who this is. But freaking out the whole time because no one really knows his secret identity yet, so he doesn't want to tell them that this is me, this is a clone.
Which is weird that he, like, guards it at all, because everybody finds out his secret identity.
That's why everyone hates him. Apparently. And they're like, oh, it's some kid named Peter Parker. And he's like, that's impossible. That's me. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody outside of this room, even though half the world knows.
I will murder.
Like, all of S.H.I.E.L.D. knows. I think all of the X-Men know. Most of his villains know.
Oh, also, this is before Mr. Fantastic became a supervillain.
Yeah, back when he was a good guy.
Except, there were some signs, because the first time you see him in this arc is he gives Johnny a glass of water and is like, here, drink this. And he says, it tastes like water. Congratulations. He goes, yeah, it's made from my pee. And then...
like a really crappy villain.
And then, because then Sue has to explain to him sincerely that you don't give people pee. And he just doesn't understand.
Because he's so smart.
He's like, no. And I quote, but it's water now, Susan.
I get that. That's what Kevin Costner did in Waterworld. And, like, him and his brother invented that technology.
This is immediately after him referencing the character
Waterworld?
from Waterworld. Yes.
Nice. I'm on the ball
He
today.
says, I saw Mariner do it, and I wondered if it could be done. Who? Mariner. Kevin Costner's character's name in Waterworld.
I feel like he should have done his research. If he's that smart, he should have done his research and know that it was done, because they just straight up invented that technology.
Anyway. So then, meanwhile...
Who watches that movie and thinks, like, I saw a man drink his own pee. I wondered if I could get someone to do that.
This is the future of science, right here.
Getting people to imbibe your bodily fluids without them knowing until after.
It's really easy to do if you don't tell them.
Yeah, just being like, oh, it's water. Yeah, good job. Science.
No, it's really urine-tasting water.
It kind of smells like your dick.
So, meanwhile, Mary Jane gets kidnapped.
By Kane.
By, I guess, Kane. He looks like Two-Face if he was Spider-Man, because it looks like he's just had acid poured all over the left side of his face. I believe in Peter Dent. And then Peter runs into Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, who is him with tits.
And a vagina. And long hair.
And long hair, which somehow sticks out of her mask, sorry.
Her mask. She's a vagina, she's a girl.
It's like a full body suit that covers everything but the hair.
Except for her scalp.
So I don't know how that stays on.
I don't know how any of them stay on.
Unstable.
Or how they stay together.
Fantastic Four molecules? I don't know.
Unstable molecules, yeah. That's all I can think of.
And then Peter also finds Gwen at his old house, who has been dead for a while now. So that comes as a surprise.
Wait, is this when Gwen came back?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because she is also a clone, technically.
She's with his dad.
Yeah.
Okay, because right after that is when Immonen took over art, right?
I wasn't paying attention.
Okay, well this is, I'm pretty sure it's volume 17, and then Immonen is volume 18, I believe.
This is all Bagley.
Bagley. I
don't know why. Is it Bagley? Because
there's no pronunciation that sounds correct to me.
Yeah, most of these writers and artists I don't say out loud. I just kind of...
You just hear it in your head for a long time?
Yeah, I just read it.
I always kind of assumed that it was Bagley, but I have no clue.
I don't know.
Because I'm thinking of when... I know that Immonen did War of the Symbiotes, which I'm pretty sure was right after, which is when she gets, like, the symbiote taken out of her, so she's just regular Gwen.
Yeah.
So that's all I was thinking. I didn't even remember that she showed up in Clone Saga.
Yeah. She shows up, and they don't know what's going on because she should be dead, and then his father shows up, and they don't know what's going on because he should be dead. And then Nick Fury
shows up, and nobody knows what's going on because he should be dead.
First, Spider-Man tells Aunt May that he is Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. He's like, so this is how it is. And she takes it pretty well. She's just like, prove it. And he goes and walks on the ceiling, and she's like, alright, stop it.
Get down from there. You'll mess it up. You'll make it dirty.
But footprints on the ceiling. So then, Nick Fury comes and basically has just decided that Spider-Man existing has been a wash, and he should just kind of take him out.
Yeah, Nick Fury's kind of a huge dick in the Ultimate Universe most of the time. Like, he just straight up told Peter that he owned him in, like, Volume 4.
Pretty much.
He was like, when you turn 18, you belong to me, basically.
You are my bitch.
Because you accidentally got bitten by a spider and blessed with these amazing powers, you belong to me. In a few years. Luckily, you die before then.
Spoilers.
How old is he when he comes back?
Actually, spoilers, he doesn't die. He's still alive somehow.
Also, he totally doesn't die, but now I guess he is, because Ultimate Universe doesn't exist anymore.
Fucking whatever.
I would have loved if that continued, because I wanted to see, like, what was going on with him. Because, I mean, even towards, like, even at the end, I still wasn't sure if I believed that it was really Peter.
Fair enough.
And I would have liked some definitive... Because I feel like, he didn't plan that run to just go for 12 issues. Like, he was clearly setting up a lot, and then it just never, came to fruition because they did Secret Wars. I want, like, a mini-series that's like, what would have happened if that world continued. At least just to tie that up.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if that happens.
I really hope it does. Though, then again, I'm still waiting for second Green Lantern Secret Origin about the fall of Sinestro. And that's been, like, a long time.
So anyway, So Nick Fury and his army of spider slayers,
His goon squad.
which were they robots or people in suits?
Probably people in suits, but who knows?
Couldn't tell. They just start shooting up Peter Parker's house, and Gwen, who is, understandably stressed by this,
A little bit.
just kind of explodes into carnage.
Now, we should specify Carnage the symbiote.
Yeah,
Not
she,
like
she doesn't just start punching people.
I like the concept of Carnage.
Though that is the only time they say carnage is oh, the carnage, that monster rot or something like that.
I hate stuff like that, actually. When it's not more realistic, but like a different sort of universe where they don't really have a good reason to call a certain character something. They just have to have a line like that. In Daredevil, it would just be like, oh, that guy's a real daredevil. It's like, oh, you just cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm glad some superheroes that, it doesn't work, you can't organically work that. That dude's like a Wolverine.
We've been calling him Deathstroke.
Yeah, this is why. Are you going to say why?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
He's got a name. You know his name. Just call him Slade Wilson.
There's no reason for a code name.
And
I think it depends.
One, there's no reason for a code name. Two, there's no reason for that code name. It doesn't make any sort of sense.
Never has been, never will be. For me, it depends on how they do it. If they did just do something like, that guy's a real daredevil, yeah, that would be shit. But, with the Carnage one, at least it's just kind of in passing. They don't really put too much focus on it.
They're not winking at the camera.
Yeah. So it's there for anyone who knows it, but they're not shoving it down your throat.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just kind of morphs into Carnage, which was the monster that killed her in the first place.
Who was just a mindless thing.
Yeah.
Didn't have a dude in it.
Didn't have a redneck serial killer in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, does Cletus Cassidy exist in the Ultimate Universe? I know obviously he's not Carnage, but have they ever mentioned him at all?
Don't know.
I'm sure he was probably mentioned in a news report or something in the background of something.
Probably. I say not in this arc,
remember.
But it's been a long time since I've read
the
rest of it, so. So yeah, she does that, and Aunt May just immediately has a heart attack. She just kind of falls over and goes, "My heart!"
I've fallen and I can't get up.
You would think Life Alert sales would be pretty good in
the Marvel Universe?
Marvel Universe, or any comic universe.
In a world of superhumans putting each other through buildings.
There's going to be lots of heart attacks.
Or people just get tough. And things don't shock them anymore. They need to start going to S&M clubs just to feel anything anymore.
But so meanwhile, Mary Jane has been kidnapped by Two-Faced, Kane, Spider-Man, whatever you want to call him. And he has decided that
or Harvey Parker.
He's gone crazy, and he's going to make Mary Jane able
Gross.
to defend herself. Because he's tired of having to defend her and be the man in the relationship.
Because he's got Peter's memories.
Yeah, so all he remembers.
So does Jessica. So how does that work?
Oh yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
That's what I think is the biggest, weirdest consequence of this story arc.
Does she remember her breasts?
She does not. Yeah, so he decides to inject Mary Jane with Oz, which is the stuff that was in the spider that bit him.
If it's not filtered through a spider, it just turns you into a slobbering maniac monster.
And she just basically becomes like Bigfoot.
I think she's called she's the ultimate version of the demi-goblin.
That doesn't sound like a word in this or any universe.
Demi-goblin?
Yeah.
Apparently it's a thing. Yeah.
She also doesn't look like something that I would describe as a goblin.
None of them look like goblins. They look like ogres, if anything.
Green Goblin looks like...
Or trolls.
Green Goblin's uniform looks like something I would describe as a goblin.
Yeah, the uniform, not the dude inside of it. To me, goblins are like little things. Gross little...
I mean, the Green Goblin uniform isn't very, intimidating in terms of size. It's just, creepy looking.
Yeah.
He's always hunched over.
A lot creepier than the 616 version, at any rate.
Yeah.
Which is just a cackling maniac in booty shorts.
Which, to be fair, is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and he's got scales sometimes, depending on the artist.
Yeah, MJ just kind of turns into a big... She looks like a mix between Bigfoot and an orangutan.
I think you mean a squatch.
A Sam Squatch.
Squatch.
But with orange hair and very long arms. And she does not take kindly to it.
Now all I'm thinking of is the orangutan they dressed up like Leela at Futurama.
It's exactly like that, actually. So she immediately turns on him and starts beating him up.
Of course.
Fantastic Four come and save Peter Parker and family. They interfere with the Parker
with the
family,
dog.
Carnage, Fury, and his Spider Slayers debacle, and they are able to take Aunt May away so that they can at least take her to a hospital and keep her from being shot at while she has a heart attack.
Yeah, she can tough it out.
And they shoot Carnage real good, I guess, and just enough to turn her into a naked Gwen Stacy. Which is surprisingly not the last naked 15 or 16-year-old girl in this small number of issues.
Is it not now?
It is not now. I think Bendis was trying for something here.
He was on a roll.
I think he was trying to give Mark Bagley, trying to see how creative he can get in covering up young girls' naughty bits, because Carnage turns back into Gwen, and she's standing there, and there's wisps of smoke curling up around her body, just very, only covering up the parts that need to be covered up.
Nips and pubes.
Yep. And I guess a little bit of one of her wrists.
They call that a Japanese threesome.
Nips and pubes?
I don't know. I'm just saying words.
Think before you speak.
Yeah.
And so they after that's all dealt with, they track down the bad Peter.
Sounds gross.
Kane.
Because Peter's another word for wiener.
Yes. And I think MJ manages to beat him up before they even get there. And so...
Yes, tough. She gets thrown off bridges for a living.
It looks like they're going to have to deal with this giant two-legged cat that she has become. But she sees the real Peter and turns back into herself, a naked teenage girl.
Yeah.
Who...
Classic Bendis.
Let's see, this time is obscured by kind of another glowing wisp of smoke.
There's a lot of convenient smoke trails in the city.
Yeah. And so then, before they can get any further answers from evil Peter, Dr. Octopus shows up, who...
Of course he does.
Was in jail as far as they knew at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think this was after Peter went to Hollywood and beat him up.
You know, like Peter does.
And then they used that footage for a Spider-Man movie.
Starring Tobey Maguire.
And Bruce Campbell.
Is he in it?
Yeah, he played Mysterio.
That's good. And so, yeah, it turns out Dr. Octopus was behind everything just because... Just because, really. He wanted
Dr. Octopus and Ben Reilly, right?
Yeah, Ben Reilly, who in this was not a clone himself. He was just a scientist that worked with...
Yeah, he was just a dude who worked with... He worked with Eddie Brock?
I think so. Did he not work with Peter's father beforehand?
He might have. I don't remember.
Or it might have just been Dr. Connors, actually, the lizard.
Oh, yeah, he worked with Dr. Connors. That was it.
I think that was literally it.
There are so many doctors in Spider-Man comics.
And yet, they can't fix anyone.
No, they just turn themselves into generally half-animal people.
It's a bit of a theme. It's probably why most people get into pre-med in New York.
Just on the off chance they get sweet kick-ass superpowers.
I mean, it seems like a pretty good chance.
Yeah, especially if your name is like an animal.
Dr. the Lizard.
That's what they call me ever since medical school.
So, yeah, he just wanted to make some clones and happened to have...
like you do.
Peter Parker's DNA on hand. So he's like, well, this is some really good DNA. I'm going to make some clones out of this. And
Ew, how would he know it's good DNA? Did he feel it?
Yeah, like it had a good Had good viscosity.
Had a good heft to it.
Felt like real solid DNA. And so Nick Fury's not too happy about that either, even though he's still trying to, arrest Peter at the very least. And so he gives Peter and the rest of his clones, 10 minutes alone with Dr. Octopus before he's going to do something about it.
What, just to punch him?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he knows full well what's going to happen.
I feel like in 10 minutes they'd kill him.
Well, they would if he... Well, I would say they would if he didn't have powers, but as far as Nick Fury knows, he doesn't. So,
Was
yes.
this when we found out that he's a mutant?
Yes.
And he's basically
that's what it
Magneto?
Is. Yeah, he basically has Magneto's powers. I don't know if they say it's... They don't say he's a mutant, and I don't know if that's the case, but might as well be.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has the ability to control metal, which he just happens to like doing in the form of octopus arms.
Yeah, he's a friggin' nutbar.
It's just what he's used to, I guess.
Octopi.
So,
kind of his thing.
So he immediately murders one of the clones.
Who, Teen Wolf?
The wolf spider, yeah. And then Peter and Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, team up to fight him and punch him to, not quite to death, but to unconsciousness. Because they're not killers.
No, that'd be crazy. They're just gross spider people.
Yeah. And so then she escapes after that, and Peter turns himself in, but they're just like, just go. There's no more clones. This is all kind of wrapped up. We don't really need you anymore.
Ever.
Yeah. And the Fantastic Four manages to cure Mary Jane. They've been working on her in the meantime, and so they have a cure for the Oz stuff, and they tell Spider-Man that he doesn't have to be Spider-Man anymore. Which, how do you turn down Spider-Man?
Kick-ass
Spider-Man
superpowers.
Like, even if you don't want to be a hero, you don't get rid of the powers. You gotta keep them.
Because he's got the great power, great responsibility bit. He can't just give that up if he's got the power to help people.
Yeah, he's also got enemies that will probably come back to try to kill him, powers or no.
And in fact do.
So, probably best to keep that power insurance.
Because friggin' everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Like, everybody that he wouldn't want to know who he is, knows who he is.
Everyone knows.
Everybody. I mean, friggin' Shocker knows who he is.
Shocker doesn't know shit. So it ends with Nick Fury kind of apologizing to Peter for having robots made that could kill him. Because, he assumed that with all the tragedy that Peter went through and the fact that he has powers, that there was every reason to believe that Spider-Man would become a supervillain. But he didn't.
No, because he's so good.
So, Nick. Well, there aren't very many teenage supervillains either, are there? Seems like if they start young, they usually work out more or less fine.
Yeah, I mean, Bombshell became a hero.
Yeah,
She loves to swear.
And she was also heavily manipulated by her mother.
Yeah, actually, Bombshell is going to be in the main universe now too.
Both of them, or just the daughter?
I know definitely the daughter. I don't know if the mother is or not. I actually haven't read it yet, but I just read an interview where he talked about who is coming over and who isn't.
Into her own series, or
no, just in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe one day, but I don't really care, to be honest.
Maybe one more day.
Shut up.
So yeah, Spider-Man, kind of berates Nick Fury for not trusting him, and then he sees off Jessica Drew, Lady Spider-Man, for the last time, and then she goes off, and then I guess she becomes not an Avenger, but an Ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
like a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
A S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, yeah. But also part of the Ultimates.
Yeah.
But that's about the end of that. But yeah, so the issue that that brings up that they literally never address, as far as I read afterwards in the comics, is that Jessica Drew, the female clone of Peter Parker, has all of his memories and like all the muscle memories or physical memories, I can't remember what they call it, of having a man's body, like through to age 16 or so. And the plan was for them to like put her under hypnotherapy to convince her that she was a woman and Jessica Drew and had that life and all that. But they don't get around to it because she escapes from them first, and they don't get the chance to. So for the rest of the time that she is in comics, which was for some years after that.
Yeah, I mean, in the timeline, it was like a year. Well, no, because then Miles had like that time skip. So yeah, a few years.
A good amount of time.
Yeah.
That this is essentially Peter Parker, but with the body of a woman, and it's just never addressed. I mean,
did she ever date anybody?
Not that I know of. I know Human Torch expresses an interest because he doesn't know who she is. At some point, he like when he first meets her, he's like, "Wow, she's so hot. I'm gonna make out with her."
Because I mean, if they like,
I'm pretty sure the dialogue was something like that.
Put her with like a guy, then that would mean Peter's gay.
Or he is just very open to the new situation he's in that cannot.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I say cannot be changed, but it can. Like, she could get a sex change.
Yeah, she could just become a dude.
Which is what people who feel that they don't, match with their body that's what they do. We have a treatment for that. But apparently, Peter Parker is fine being in a woman's body.
Yeah.
And
I guess because it's like, oh, well, there's already a guy, Peter. And Peter does not like redundancies, much like the Sarge.
Yeah, poor guy, having to deal with someone else who looks like him out there for them to not feel like they are in a stranger's body for the rest of their lives.
Maybe they'll bang.
I glanced through some of the later comics. Which one was it? It might have been in Cataclysm. It was some other comic later where she's meeting with the Avengers or the Ultimates, and they're talking about like things that some of them don't know, and she's like, Captain America's talking about how like everything's on a need-to-know basis. She's like, "Oh, I bet you didn't even know that I'm, a clone." He's like, "What? We have clones?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm the illegal genetic clone of Peter Parker." He's like, "Huh? No, I did not know that. So are you still Peter in there?" She's like, "Yep, I'm entirely Peter Parker in here."
So all those times we made out.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they never address it. She is just a man in a woman's body who just identifies as Jessica Drew for the rest of the Ultimate Universe, I guess. Unless there was some series I didn't read where they went further in depth, but
maybe in Only Ultimates, but I couldn't get past the first 3 issues of that.
Maybe.
It was very badly written.
I glanced through some of her later appearances, and most of the time it was just they were too busy dealing with whatever they were dealing with to
get into her personal drama.
Talk about personal drama. Anywho, was there anything else about Ultimate Spider-Man you had on your mind?
Not really. We should probably talk about Miles a little bit. Miles is the second Ultimate Spider-Man after Peter, quote unquote, died. He didn't really die. He came back to life.
He should.
Maybe.
He should have
I
died.
still don't know if he was dead or not.
I liked when I started reading Ultimate Comics. I was like, oh, okay, this is good because they will actually kill people. And then one of two things happened: either Ultimatum happened and everyone died, or something like Peter Parker happened where he died, but then he came back and was totally fine.
And apparently Captain America came back, and I remember him dying during Cataclysm.
I don't actually remember that, but
then again, he also died during Ultimatum, but he came back within Ultimatum. Like Thor sacrificed himself to bring Cap back from the land of the dead.
And then Cap sacrificed himself to bring Thor back, and it was just a vicious cycle.
I'm fine with it if someone dies in a one story and then comes back in the same story. That to me that doesn't even count as them dying. Yeah. But it's like when they've been dead for a long time and then they come back, then it's It's kind of crappy. But I guess it makes sense for Peter just because of the thing they've established where people that have the Oz in their system just apparently just can't, like, they have trouble dying, it seems like.
Yeah.
Because Green Goblin just kept coming back to life with no explanation.
Was he officially dead by the second time? Because I remember Peter comes back and then, Green Goblin's back too. And so he and Miles fought him.
I don't think he was really dead when Peter killed him during the death of Spider-Man, because it showed his body and, like, he smiled. And that was the end of it. And then he, like, in that Spider-Man series where Peter came back, he was, like, in a S.H.I.E.L.D. facility, and he was about to be transferred, and he had, like, long hair and a beard. So I guess S.H.I.E.L.D. just, like, knows that he doesn't die, so they just keep collecting his body and wait for him to come back to life and keep him locked up.
They could try to figure out how. Most of these villains need to be executed.
I mean, just put, like, a bolt through his head, but leave it there. Like put him under a jackhammer and just have it keep going.
Or cut him up into pieces and separate those pieces.
He's not a mummy. Or Dracula. Do Draculas need to be cut up into pieces?
I think they can just be staked through the heart.
No, not vampires. Draculas.
Vampires.
Those are like magical vampires. Vampirism is just a virus, but a Dracula is like a magical vampire.
I don't need to know which Dracula I am to be a sexy Dracula.
But yeah, Miles was he was really awesome. His supporting cast was very good. I liked Gank when he wasn't drawn to look like Jabba the Hutt.
I thought it was Genki.
Is it Genki? I have no clue how it's pronounced. It's not a word or a name.
He's
I can't.
Is he Japanese?
I think he's Chinese. What's his last name?
Fuck if I know. But if he was Japanese, I guess it would be pronounced Gankei, which just sounds worse.
I'm gonna go with Gank because Genki sounds weird. That sounds like a description.
I just assumed it was like a nickname.
Yeah, I think it's a nickname, but I'm pretty sure it's Gank. I don't know. He loves Legos.
Who doesn't?
Right? If they weren't so damn expensive. Yeah. I do have an Avengers Tower that I built last year.
I had a bunch of Legos as kids, and I didn't realize at the time how expensive they are, so thanks, Mom and Dad, for buying me probably way too many Legos.
I know, right? I think I got rid of all my ones from when I was a kid, so that, like, it would have, I liked having the pieces just to build crap.
I think I have the pieces. I think they're just broken up in a bunch of boxes.
But yeah, Gank is pretty great. Both of Miles' series are really good.
So is that including the current one?
I haven't read any of that yet, but I assume it's amazing.
Nope, it's just Spider-Man.
Ha. But I mean, I want to wait until the book comes out, but who knows? I mean, it's going to be great. So I would like to wait, but if I'm bored one day and I have nothing else to read, I might just end up reading them.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to read it.
Me too.
So that Old Man Logan, I can't wait.
Alright, well, that wraps up our Ultimate Spider-Man episode then.
Yeah, I think next episode's going to be Daredevil, right?
Yeah, because the new show, or the new season of the show will be coming on soon.
Yeah.
And we're going to beat it to the punch.
God, I love Daredevil.
So yeah, tune in for the Daredevil episode next week.
Yeah, tune in. Set your dial to 2. That's the channel we're on.
Same comic place, same comic time.
Same comic Dane.
And same comic Luke.
Nope.
Damn it.
You ruined it.
I just wanted to be part of something.
Then join the KKK. I'll take white people, I heard.
Well, I'm part Irish.
That's quite enough.
They've become more lax in their
in their hatred.
In their eligibility. Well, that's good a place as any to stop. To stop forever.
Talking as we usually do about the KKK.
See you later.
Bye.